I worked for Viking Freight System from the beginning of '85 until the end of '94. Viking was the biggest LTL carrier on the West Coast for many, many years, and a phenomenal company. Everybody that worked there, even as big as we were, treated it like a family operation. And FedEx had acquired them back in, I think it was 2003, and dovetailed it all under with American Freightways on the East Coast under the FedEx Freight umbrella. Okay. So Viking Freight no longer exists since then. And I just happened to stumble across the tractor itself up in the Bay Area in Oakland. Oh, gosh, probably 12, 13 years ago. And it's really easy to spot a Viking cabover. We used to have air start on it. And, there's always a little air tank on the side and then the sign light above. And it's just super easy to tell that it was a Viking cabover. So I approached the owner on it and acquired it. Had it up in the Bay Area for probably about 3 or 4 years. It was really difficult to do because my business keeps me busy, 12 to 15 hours a day. And being that I'm, 450 miles from where the truck actually was, did most of it with all of it through NorCal Kenworth, but over the phone mostly. And my goal when I first bought it was just to make it look road ready. Its last use was in a moving van operations up there. And they did some intermodal drayage with it. And it just looked like it needed a lot of work before I put it on the road, especially driving it back from the Bay Area to Southern California. You've got to go through a few scale houses, and I just didn't want it to appear to be some ratty old truck. So, long story short, had it up there for I'd say 3 or 4 years. They got it in pretty good condition, and drove it back home. And I struggled for years trying to find a good restoration guy to work on for big rigs. They're just not readily available, especially Southern California. It's mostly all cars. So just kind of tinkered with it myself here and there, but I was getting frustrated and spent a lot of time trying to find someone. Well, I got a hold of a motorhome repair facility, does high-end stuff here in Orange County, and they recommended me to a gentleman by the name of Mickey Larson. Mickey Larson owns a company called Twins Custom Coaches with his brother, and their father has a lot of input that he has into it as well. And he did a lot of the rigs that were featured in the Transformer movies. He called me one day and said he's going to move to Boise, Idaho. Well, geez, okay. That doesn't help me, but at the same time, I wasn't going to pull the project from him because he's done such a great job. He's such a great guy, and got to know him and his father really, really well. So I had bought another former Viking cabover that was in Pomona. Mickey actually found it for me in the weeds somewhere. Bought it as kind of a parts truck. Loaded, so bought a 53-foot United Van Line's former trailer. Loaded everything up at my warehouse in Anaheim with my forklift and just loaded it all from the ground up, pushed everything in, and crates of chrome, and you name it. And that 53-footer was packed with 2 Kenworth 2-axles and and my cab, which was off the frame at the time. And had a buddy of mine take it up to Boise, Idaho, where it was there with Mickey for probably a couple of years. They did some amazing work to this thing. As you can see in the pictures, it looks great, but the fabrication they did and all the secret kind of tricks that they did to it took quite a bit of time. I drove up there a couple of times, to check on it, spend a day with them and make some tweaks. But, for the most part, this truck was done by pictures and over the phone. Mickey and I connected really well. I knew exactly what I wanted, and I've been around big rigs since I was a little kid, and started learning to drive them around 13. So, especially on cabovers, Kenworth cabovers, that's what my dad had in his fleet when I was growing up. That's what we did, and that's the product I ended up with, and drove it back here in first week of June. I finally got it back and was able to drive it back home. It was really just a way of paying my gratitude towards Viking Freight System, because we had thousands of employees, and there's a website or a Facebook page that's set up for people that used to work for Viking. A lot of people took a lot of pride in that company. I was fortunate that I was able to afford to do a project like this, and it was really just a throwback in respect to Viking more than it is me going to shows and winning trophies, because I don't care about any of that stuff. I'm not a showy guy, but at the same time, I built model trucks when I was a kid, and I used to trick those things out. So I kind of took this as as a full scale 1/25th scale AMT model in my head, and just kept doing all these cool things to it that I wanted to.